Hi there, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this intriguing, interesting, and different presentation today. As you will notice, before me, I have a Yamaha PSR SX-900 keyboard in conjunction with a KETRON SD90. And as the title of the show is for today, we are going to talk about how you can enhance your existing keyboard. So if you have a Yamaha keyboard, a Kurzweil keyboard, Roland keyboard, or a Korg keyboard, this is how you can benefit by having this KETRON SD90 module to enhance or replace whatever unit you have right now. So I'm going to go through a couple of things. What you heard me doing there in the beginning was pretty much using one of the Yamaha styles, a freestyle, okay, which I'll explain that later, in conjunction with a KETRON style. And I'm going to make a particular video and put on YouTube and Facebook that shows you how to make the connections you see back there. So in a nutshell, what you're doing is you're going from the Yamaha keyboard, the sound, into the mixer. You're also going from the KETRON keyboard, as you can see back this way, yep, there we go, into the mixer. But the magic is this orange cable, and that's why I picked a different color, so you can see right there, the MIDI cable, right? So that MIDI cable is going from the Yamaha MIDI out into the KETRON's MIDI in. And then, of course, you have to set up the different channels. But again, good morning to all of you. I want to make sure everything is sounding good. Let's give a shout out to our friends on Facebook and on YouTube. Quentin from Quentin Morgan. Yes, my buddy across the pond, across the ocean. Good morning to you, and welcome for joining us over on the YouTube channel. If I go over to Facebook, let's see if we have our friends over on the Facebook channel as well. Let me see if we can go over to the Facebook channel and see the people who are watching us over there. Just give a shout out to them and say good morning to my fellow comrades, friends, musicians. I know you're home, and you know it's very soon now. We're going to be outdoors again, very, very soon. So at least you have shows like this to log into and get a better experience of your equipment, get a better experience of how you can get to know your instrument. Many of us are so used to gigging and just going out there and every now and then take your keyboard and go play, go play, go play. You don't really have time to sit down and actually analyze what you got. So one of the things I can say that has come of this virus is the fact that many people now have time, to sit at home, spend time with family and friends, of course, but also to reflect and think about life in general, okay? And for us musicians or engineers, it's time to think about how to make things better, how to design things better, and how to use your existing gear or modify it as the case may be. So again, oh yeah, Ashley, hello, good morning and welcome to you. Welcome, Mario. Well, Linda is in the house. Linda, I need you to send me an accordion. Let's see if I can try and learn how to play that, right? Dr. Chu, thank you. I do still owe you that video. If you go to YouTube, but I'll do that after this, okay? Dr. Chu was actually interested in how to program live. And I think he also has a Yamaha keyboard. But he wants to know how to program styles live. And that's a very, very intriguing but challenging topic. We have a specific video for that on YouTube if you go to the YouTube channel, AjamSonic. But I'm going to send you that link. I did not forget about you. I was just trying to prepare for the show. Lazar, welcome back, Lazare. I have a little surprise for you too. I might make a couple of sounds with your setup. How about that? With your permission, of course. But let's go on. So we're trying to keep the show short, and normally that's not possible. We shall try. It again. It depends on all of you out there and your response. Again, we are here for you guys. KETRON is here for you. We listen to the feedback of our customers. So please leave a comment below, on the left, on the right, up north, wherever, and we shall definitely read your comments. If not during the show, later on after the show, and I can either respond to them directly, or if it needs detailed response, it will be coming over at the next show, and so on and so forth, right? So let me just explain what we just did right now, and why we say you could use the SD90 from KETRON or any of the KETRON modules to enhance your particular setup. So in this demonstration I just did right now, on the Yamaha, we have a couple of styles on there, and I picked a freestyle, okay? So what I did was I went over, let me see if I can get back to my Yamaha screen so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. There we go, okay? And I was able to pick a style, right? And this style is, it's called, for those of you with the Yamaha keyboard, Yamaha PSR SX-900 Eternal Voices. So if I go to the KETRON, all right, and I don't do anything, I don't want to hear anything over here, I can turn off these voices, right? Right hand voice, left hand voice, disable the style, correct? So this is how the Yamaha sounds like by itself, okay? So I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna do a sync start, pick the style I want, go to variation A. This is a very lovely, it's a style, but it's a freestyle. So you're not constrained to any particular tempo or any particular measures. All you do is just play a chord, okay? And as you listen, the keyboard actually just gives you nice, lush background, lush, sweet sound, okay? So I'm putting the chords here on this one, right? Let's see if I give you a different view so you can see what I'm doing exactly. I'm just playing the chords on the here, and I can accompany on the right hand side. Yamaha is known for having some very good lead voices, and I'm taking advantage of that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the strength of my KETRON SD90. And where is the strength on KETRON? The Arranger section, the styles. So what I'm going to do, because I have these two synced up, okay, thanks to the MIDI cable, whenever I play a style on the Yamaha, that style is synced up to the SD90 as well, okay? So the MIDI clock of the Yamaha is driving the SD90. That way both of them are in sync. So if I bring in the KETRON, if I hit a key start, and I hit the chord, I can easily do something like this. So now the KETRON live drums, live guitars, the KETRON are now coming in to accompany there we go. So the live drums of the KETRON are now coming in to accompany what I'm playing right here. So, can everybody hear me now? Yes. There we go. Okay. I see that I give permission. Alrighty. So as I was saying, Linda, the voice, the mic is okay now, right? I just saw your comment and I did a slight little adjustment here on the mixing. So, over here, I am playing the rhythm or the style section from the KETRON in conjunction with the Yamaha, and my lead voice is coming out of my Yamaha for the moment, okay? Also now bring in the KETRON voices as well, like I was doing in the beginning of the show. KETRON horns. all I was doing was trying to illustrate to you real quick how I was able to get that result, okay? So I was explaining to you, because it's hard to tell on the video what exactly I'm doing with what, so I have to sometimes interject and explain myself. But what you heard there was a combination of the style coming from the Yamaha engine and also the part of it anyway, and the bass, drums, and the live guitar, which is a style section of a style here, a ballad, Chill Out #1, coming out of this particular unit. Again, you can have any keyboard, okay? And as a matter of fact, most of our products, especially the modules, are popular with, you know, accordion players like Linda, for an example. They have a MIDI accordion, which has some sounds in it as well, and then they connect that MIDI accordion to the module. You could be a trumpet player. So long as you have MIDI on your device, you can use any MIDI device, any general MIDI device, to actually control the module. So in that demonstration I just did right now, what I was actually showing you was how we could actually use the SD90, all right, to pretty much accompany your existing keyboard. So this is something which, again, you know, thanks to the live drums and the live bass and the live guitar from the KETRON, you can actually be able to add that, because that's a whole different genre of technology, okay? You can actually be able to add that to your existing keyboard, as we were talking about before. So these are things that you know, not many people are doing, for an example, because maybe people don't know about it for the most part. But that's what we're here for. That's what we're here. That's why we are here. Sorry, that's why we are here, right? To be able to explain some of these things. So I'm going to go to another example. For an example, you know, the KETRON is very, very powerful when it comes to the Latin styles, and I think that that's across the board. Okay, so if I go to this demonstration, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to load up a style, a salsa. Okay, and this is for all my Latin friends out there, and all of those, everyone who likes Latin music. You know, when you listen to Latin music, you're always in that groove, right? It makes you want to move. Well, the SD90 will make you want to move. So to do this demonstration, let's you know, split it up so you understand exactly what's happening. I'm going to go to the Yamaha keyboard, the PSR SX-900, okay? And I pick the salsa style. So this is how the salsa style sounds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with just the drums, okay? Just the drums. Because sometimes when you go into a store or you go online, it's very difficult to demonstrate some of these features. But thanks to technology, we can actually do that right now while you sit at home and watch what we're doing. So I'm going to go right here to the KETRON board, and I'm going to see how I can actually show you what I'm doing. So on the Yamaha, I have picked a style. It's called Salsa, Salsa Grand Sicyon. That's a nice one. Okay, this is how the style sounds like. Just the drums, okay? Just the drums. Feel, variation B. See? So that's a salsa drum pattern coming out of the Yamaha. Let's listen to a similar salsa drum pattern coming out of the KETRON. Variation A, let's go to variation B. And this, again, is the power of live drums, okay? I'm just playing just the drum pattern. Variation C. And D. So that's on the KETRON. This is the Yamaha. Okay? So now, on this particular example, what am I going to do? I noticed that the drum section coming out of the KETRON seems to be much more lively, for an example. And I can go into the other parts, all right? If I go in here and I go into key start on the Yamaha, let me just play a chord sequence with the entire arrangement so you can hear what it sounds like on the Yamaha. So in this particular example, from my preferences, excuse me, the drum and bass have a nice arrangement going back there. But better still, the horns. I like those horns that are coming out of this particular keyboard. Now let's go over to the KETRON and do likewise. And go over here, and I'm going to play the style on the KETRON, not the Yamaha. Notice they're all in sync, huh? Same tempo. So in this case, I can say to myself, wow, this actually does sound good. But of course, the drums and bass coming out of here, from my point of view, are, the live drums, bass, guitar parts. They just bring a lot more reality, make the music sound a lot more real. But I like some of the horn components that are coming out of the Yamaha. Plus, I also like the fact that I have the multi-pads over here that I can actually use. So I'm going to do a combination of both of that, right? So what would I do? Because I want the drums in here on the KETRON, I'm going to come into my Yamaha track. I'm going to go here on the Yamaha keyboard. I'm going to go into my mixer, okay? And I'm going to go into my style section here. For those of you that have this board, I'm going to turn off the rhythm part, turn off the drums. I don't want the drums coming out of here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn off the bass as well, right? But on the KETRON side, I'm going to go into the view of the KETRON, and I'm going to turn off some of these horns because I don't want them to be clashing with the Yamaha. So I'm going to turn off these last tracks over here, okay? So what you're going to be hearing, I know some people, I can sense some people smiling already. What is he doing? So I'm going to play an AJ style, which is made up of the salsa coming out of the Yamaha, but no drums, no bass, okay? And the salsa coming out of the KETRON, drum, bass, and one other track, the live guitar, okay? So when I combine them, I should have something that sounds pretty sweet indeed. So I'm going to go here to key start, and let's listen to the KETRON again. Let's bring in the Yamaha. Again, it's very interesting because now I can do the same thing with my voices, okay? If I turn the KETRON voices off, what you're going to hear over here is the Yamaha voice, okay? So that's my voice of my piano. Now, if I go over here and I turn this voice down and I come to the KETRON voice, combine those two voices, okay, what I'm doing is I'm having, as I would like, I can even add strings in there. You see what I'm saying? So the power of the combination of the two is making me sound so much better. Those of you who have this particular keyboard will understand because you already know the different styles and different genres, and you know how the salsa style ought to sound in your keyboard. So now, when I do this enhancement, I'm pretty much doing something which you probably have not heard before because of not having the SD90. before I get carried away over there, I was just trying to show you how I can go, from just making stuff up into a famous Latin tune. But again, pay attention to the enhancements, to how the keyboard is now sounding, your keyboard, okay, with an SD90 module attached. So that is an example of how you can actually use the SD90 to enhance whatever features you have in your existing keyboard. Again, in this particular case, it sounds this way because the SD90 has live styles. What you heard right there, the percussion parts are live, okay? We actually have sections that are live that were played by Latin players, both in New York and in Puerto Rico. And so it's very, very authentic, and that's what KETRON does. We actually go to, excuse me, we actually go to the source of perfection. So if we're looking for an example, a country style, of course, the musicians that are going to be involved in creating that particular style will come from probably areas like Nashville and what have you. So this was something that I figured I was going to talk about. Now, sometimes the enhancement could be the other way around as well, right? So there are certain styles, certain areas, or certain genres that the Yamaha will probably outshine or be better, for your music than the KETRON. Likewise, there are areas which I just demonstrated up to now where the KETRON would probably dominate your Yamaha keyboard or complement it, okay? Let's go into a genre where a lot of people looking at the reviews we have online are very excited with the Yamaha. Yamaha has some very, very great big band styles, right? Big band stuff, so like jazz and like big band. That's something that's very, very powerful on this board. So without much ado, let's dive in and see how that looks like from our perspective. So I have a big band here, big band swing style on the Yamaha board, okay? And I'm going to load an equivalent big band on the KETRON as well, all right? So again, I'm going to show you how you can actually go back and forth. Show you how you can go back and forth. Oh, someone is saying the microphone. You need some more volume on the mic. Let's turn up that microphone. Okay, how does that sound? Is that a lot better now? Donnie, welcome. Yeah, I just saw your, okay. Yep, just let me know. Give me a hands up about the volume on the mic, please. I saw some comments that just came in from Donnie and Linda about turning up the mic. Can you guys, okay, I see a thumbs up on YouTube. Okay, good. So as I was saying, there are scenarios or circumstances where the enhancement is not one way, right? It's not just about enhancing your existing board. For those of you with a KETRON board as well, there are things to benefit from the Yamaha keyboard. And from all the comments we see online, those who have this board, the one thing that they rave about is the big band, the jazz and the big band styles coming out of here. So what we did, I went in here to big band swing, okay? So this is a style coming out of the Yamaha board, which would sound something like this. If I go to the introduction and I hit key start, sync start in this case, this is what we're listening to. So that is just on the Yamaha board itself. Very nice. And you can hear the way the horns are coming in, okay? Now, if I was to do a similar style on the KETRON, this is what it would sound like. So I'm going to go over here, turn that on. I'm not going to activate the style on the Yamaha keyboard, just on the KETRON. And this is what the introduction and the style would sound like. So that was the big band coming from the KETRON SD90. Now, right away, what do you notice? In my opinion, I can see right there that the arrangement part, the chord tracks, the way the horns are, and the way the guitar comes in on the Yamaha for this particular piece sounds very, very interesting. So what I would do is on the Yamaha side, I would go into the Yamaha because I want to hear the liveliness of the KETRON, the drums and bass coming out of here, okay? Just by itself, that's the drummer on the KETRON, okay? If I go to variation C, so I want to hear that, especially you can hear those drum rolls. You can hear the drummer, the way he is, I mean, there's a lot of expression coming out of the drums on the KETRON, okay? The Yamaha by itself, just the drums by itself, sounds like this. And also, one thing you notice is what? On the Yamaha, because the styles, okay, most of the Yamaha styles are 4 bars long, okay? You have 4 bars. Some of them are 2, 4. I think we have a few cases of 8 bars long. Well, when you have an 8-bar style, when a style is only 8 bars long or 4 bars long, what happens is the style seems to be monotonous because it's repeating. It begins to sound like a loop, right? And why am I saying this? When you program a style or when you're playing a style, one of the good things about music is that there's a lot of expression and changes going along as you play your music, right? So even though you have a structure such as a verse, a chorus, maybe a solo section, and an outro or an ending, but within those structures, there's a lot of melodies and things that are different that are going on. So in order to try to replicate a live player or a live band, on the KETRON, our styles are more or less 8 measures long. Some of them are 16, and we even have a few cases, if you have the AjamSonic package, where a style, a section or a variation can be 32 bars long, which means that, technically speaking, you can play an entire song with just one variation, right? Depending on how the style has been structured. So I'm bringing this up because if you listen to what I just did right now, if I go to variation B on the KETRON, and I play what or variation D, you notice that as the style progresses, you start to hear different things you didn't hear before, which means that as a human being, you feel less bored, right? Because the things that are changing within the style, right? So I want to be able to use that feature on the KETRON keyboard, right? But I want to be able to have the style section, the other parts coming out of the Yamaha, the horns, like it has nice horn sections coming out of there. So what do? I go into the Yamaha keyboard and I go into the mixer, okay? And I'm going to turn off, I don't want to have both drummers fighting. You can't have 2 drummers on stage, otherwise it'll be chaos, right? So I'm going to turn off the drummer here, rhythm 1, rhythm 2. I mute those tracks over here. I'm going to leave the bass here. I'm going to show you something interesting because in certain parts of this song, I want the bass player from here to play. And in other parts, I want the bass player from here, the live bass coming out of the KETRON. So for now, I'm going to leave the bass on here, and I'm going to turn down the bass here on the KETRON. So when I start playing this chord section and the pads are going to be coming out of here, but the drums are going to be coming out of here and some other horns out of here too. So now, if I start with just the Yamaha style, okay, again, we're into the big band. Nothing on the KETRON yet, just the Yamaha is going to sound like this. See, I took out the drum section, right? Now, the KETRON would sound like this. Okay, so now when I combine those two, we're going to get something like this. Again, I didn't want the bass here, I forgot that. Turn the bass off here, bring this accompaniment in. So let me do that again. I wanted to get this to go to the bass line. Now I want the bass from here, okay? I'm gonna bring up the bass volume here, turn off the bass on the Yamaha, okay? So somebody asked, is there a way you can sync? Right now, it's actually synced up. So if I press the key start on the KETRON keyboard, and I press the the sync start on the Yamaha, what I've done, again, I said I'm going to go into another video to show the details of what I did here, okay? But pretty much the Yamaha is the master MIDI clock, and that's what is driving the KETRON. So on the MIDI menu here, you go into the MIDI settings, and you go to the MIDI clock, and you pick external, okay? And on the MIDI setting on the Yamaha, you go into menu, MIDI, and you go to the MIDI clock, and you pick internal. This is the master clock. So the MIDI clock here is driving this, so that when I play a chord here, see, they're all in sync. Now, the challenging thing is to stop them both at the same time, right? So you have to have an idea, because if you stop this one, that one goes, especially if you're using an audio style. But I think there's a way we can work around that. I think there's a way to do that, where I can, of course, you can have the pedals, right? The FS6 or FS13 pedal, and you can use the pedals to engage the start-stop in real time. So that could be one way to do it. But I know there's another way. I just have to spend a little bit more time with the Yamaha board and get into the guts of the board, okay? So that is an example where, in my opinion, you know, the machines are, both of them are actually complementing each other, because you're having some sounds that, if you're a KETRON person, you know that the arrangement is very good here. You know that the sounds are good, especially when it comes to the live sounds. But sometimes you want to have that sweet studio sound or effect also embellished in your music. And that's where this board, in my opinion, actually shines for such of those sounds. Now, the big band style here, great big band. And then, of course, I can complement them both together, especially with the bass, like I was just telling you. If you listen to the bass line, okay, let's just go to that bass for an example. And I'm going to mute the other parts on the Yamaha. This is what the bass line sounds like down here. And again, it depends on the style and also depends on the part. So sometimes I like the bass coming out of here. And sometimes I like the bass coming out of here. I like the chords coming out of here. Okay, so I got the guitar coming out of this one over here. I want to add the pads coming out of here. I like the chords from here. I like the drums coming out of here. Here we go. And stop. You can get it both right and hit them together. But that was just to give you an idea of what I was doing over there. So that's a very, very interesting case because you have something good coming out of both machines. More from this one than this one in this particular case when it came to the big band style. So if you're into big band stuff or a lot of the traditional or jazz, right? There's going to be some styles you might prefer from here. If you're into dance music, for example, you want to get the dance floor packed and jamming, and you want to sound live like a live band, you might be leaning more towards having the KETRON. However, with the SD90 module, you now have the best of both worlds because I can now pick and choose based on what song I'm going to do if I want to get something coming out of here or something coming out of here. Okay, I'm going to pick another one here. We're going to go into another category, again, into the Latin over here. That board was ahead of me. And you will notice I'm going to talk about the Brazilian samba. I know many of my friends from Brazil had asked about doing demonstrations and some stuff. They wanted to hear some stuff from Brazil. So we're going to take this opportunity to be able to answer some of those questions and satisfy some of those friends from down south, right? So this is a very nice style again. Again, back into the category of Latin. You would notice that the strength of the board of the SD90 comes especially when you're talking about live percussion parts, live drums and the guitars as well. Now, in this case, I want to do this real quick. Listen to the samba beat. I'm going to start off with the samba beat on the Yamaha. And this is another example where it having an arrangement that has more bars, okay, or a longer chord, more bars, more measures, actually helps because it doesn't sound redundant. That's a variation B of the samba style coming out of the Yamaha keyboard. It's just called samba, right? Now, let's listen to the same, not the same, but let's listen to the samba, the Brazilian samba style coming out of the Yamaha. Just the drums for now, okay? Here we go. So that's my drummer, variation B. Let's go back to Yamaha drums. Here we go. Variation C on the Yamaha drums. Let's go back to the KETRON drums. Here we go. So again, if you have longer measures, it allows the drummer to do a lot more inside that particular variation. So even you who's playing the keyboard, sometimes you hear things that make you turn around and say, wow, Bill, good job on the drums. Wow, Mary, I like that snare, right? So in this particular case, in my opinion, the samba coming out of here sounds more lively, right? But I want to use certain elements of this board. So if I was to play just the Yamaha keyboard by itself without adding anything from the KETRON, all right? I'm going to turn everything down on the KETRON. And we're going to do something like this. Introduction. Now let me do the same coming out of the KETRON. Here we go. Start with the introduction and then play something similar. Just the KETRON now. So that is just coming out of the KETRON board, right? So I was able to get the live drums, the live guitars. Now, if I want to add that and, again, coming into the Yamaha keyboard, I would go into my mixer section, for an example. I would turn off the rhythm section. I would turn off the bass so that I can have just this part coming out of here. And also have access to the percussion parts here, okay? And then, of course, that guitar and that pad is coming out of here. If I add that in combination with both of them. Drum roll, please. So again, I was just showing you that little example there. Now, one of the very powerful tools of an arranger keyboard, and I think that this is something that may have been underlooked by many people, right, is the capability to be able to produce jingles, right? So you can actually, if you have one of these units, you can actually be able to very, very quickly produce jingles or produce even full-fledged songs production. Again, look at it as an arranger is like your music sketch pad, right? So if you were to wake up at 2 o'clock, many artists and musicians seem to think better in the wee hours of the morning, right? So like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you have this brilliant idea, you jump out of bed and you want to start composing something, right? How does that start? What do you do? So this is a case where we got together to try to put a jingle for a friend of ours. And it's a combination of both worlds, all right? It's a combination of the Yamaha for a lot of the sounds, but then also the KETRON for the live drums and the live guitars. So this is a very, very good example for us to use. I'm going to use a one-touch, right? So we're going to go into the one-touch setting here, for an example. I'm going to touch this and see which sound I want to work with. I'm going to go back to this one. Okay. And this, by the way, in my opinion, there's some very nice, sweet guitar sounds that are coming out of the PSR. So I'm going to try and use some of these in there in conjunction with the piano from here. And I'm going to go into the piano section also on the KETRON and some space sounds like right there. Okay. So I'm doing this in front of you so you can see how, this is what you do at home, to set everything up, for an example. So I'm setting it up and I'm looking, let me show you the screen so you can see what I'm seeing over here. All right, so I'm setting up these sounds, okay? Again, this is Yamaha, all right? start with that one, and I'm going to go over to this one and bring in my spacey sounds. Great. So this is what this sounds like when you put everything together. Let's see. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring in some live drums. Here we go. Of course, you can see that you have to be able to, manipulate this in real time. But if you're recording this, all right, you actually have, for an example, access to my, let's see, if I go over to my scene here, to my live guitar or my live drum section or my live bass section, okay, I'm able to instantly I'm able to quickly access the different sections or the different tracks coming out of the arranger section here, right? So that gives me the capability of being able to, well, let me see here, style section, for example. I'm going to go back in here and go into the pads, and I can turn up, on, and off the different pad sections. Or I can actually go in there and load another pad section if I choose to. So if I set this up correctly, what I'm doing is on the Yamaha, I'm picking some of the sounds here, if I use the one touch in particular, because then I have most of my favorite voices that are lodged in or that are saved in the one touch section, right? So if I actually go into the one touch section, I can actually be able to quickly access those voices without any issue at all. Also, on the Yamaha keyboard, I'm also having access to some of the guitar riffs, right? If you have the multi-pad control, I can instantly recall certain guitar sections or voices. They have a very nice selection of choir voices on the machine here that they actually use in real time. On the KETRON side, I have access to the live guitars, okay, the live strum, and by changing the chords on the Yamaha, I'm actually controlling those chords coming out of the KETRON as well. But predominantly, the drum and the bass coming out of the KETRON is so powerful, so lively. And so I'm able to harness that. And in collaboration with both machines, I'm actually able to go through both of them. Let's see here. Both of them and pick out the best of both worlds, right? So if I go in, let me just go in here real quick. I need to go back in here and set this other one up. Let's see if my filter, I go in here, go down to menu. Okay, fine, that's working. Beautiful, okay. So this is a very good example. I'm going to try and go now and see if I can take some questions real quick. I know we're already hitting the 1 hour 1 hour limit, but I need to answer a few questions, and those I cannot get to this week, I will definitely get to next week. So let me start with the folks over on, let's see here, my people over on YouTube. Yes, let's see the guys on YouTube. Normally, the people on YouTube have a discussion among themselves, and they don't need me. So that's why I keep on saying, YouTube. Okay. Oh, Alan Smith is on YouTube. Thank you, brother. How are you doing? Yes. We're all at home. Now when you're home, there doesn't seem to be a difference between vacation and and working, because your environment doesn't seem to change, right? So let's see here. Sounds good. This is perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, the guys on YouTube are not fighting this time. I like my friends on YouTube because they get into their own little world and start doing their own thing, and then I kind of chime in and just see what they're talking about. So let's see. Voice volume gone. More mic volume. Okay, I think we took care of that. These are the past posts, right? Okay, good, good. All right, great, 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 great. Yep, that is fine. Let's go back to Facebook. Let's see our people on Facebook. What questions do we have? One touch. Yeah, I think I did that already. That was done about 20 minutes ago. Being able to use the one touch. Yes, good, good. Right. Okay. Let's see another question. Mike was no questions about the sync. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mike is good. Good. Great. 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 How to synchronize them. Right. So I'm going to do another video for the syncing because that's going to take some time. That's going to make this a little bit too lengthy. Right. So there's a way to actually go in there and synchronize the both units so that the MIDI clock is coming from, in other words, you have one MIDI clock. It's like having one master, right? When you have a band, you have a conductor. You don't have three conductors. You have one conductor, and that person conducts all the different groups. So we're going to actually be able to do that in another video. That way we don't tie this one up and make it too long, okay? Now, I think there's some of my friends, yes, so I'm going to do another challenging piece here. And this is going to be probably the last piece I'm going to do. I'm going to leave you guys with this one. But this is going to give you the capability to be able to add, let's say, African music or African rhythms to your existing keyboard. So let's say you have the PSR or any of the keyboards you have, like I said, Roland or Korg or any of those. How would you be able to add something like this from the KETRON onto your keyboard? And I'm going to show that example with this one right here, okay? This is a very famous African tune or song, but it's also a very tricky one, all right? So it starts off, I'm going to use a begin style over here, and I'm going to switch over. Again, I'm using my Yamaha. So this is my keyboard, this is my controller, and I'm going to harness some of the good, let's say the African guitar or the African drums, for an example, for the high life. And this, again, could be me on the stage, right, playing the Yamaha keyboard, but then I'm going to sound very, very live indeed. So without much ado, this is what this was going to sound like. Again, I'm going to set this up here. If I do this, and here we go. Where did I thought I lost you guys there for a second. Okay, there you are. All right, so this is going to be my last piece. I'm going to go ahead and do this one and then end the show. And if you have any questions, you can also reach out to me directly, or you can leave a comment. You have the email address. You have the comment section below your screen, either below this way or above that way, or to my, that's my left, your right, left. I don't know. So, you know, when you're doing these shows, left and right doesn't matter anymore. But you know what to talk about. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to leave you all with this piece. Again, listen to the guitars, live guitars, and then have the nice flute sounds coming out of the Yamaha keyboard. Okay? So here we go. So that was just to give you a taste, all right, of what the capabilities are with this machine. So again, I will look forward to seeing you all next week unless something comes up. I would like to thank all of you for having tuned in on your Memorial Day to spend time with us here at KETRON. And we're going to try and bring out more of such workshops. So look out for the video that's going to talk about how you actually connect these instruments. I mean, in a nutshell, I know people are people are still asking. So in a nutshell, what do I do? You actually go in, if I can get the view correct. So on the Yamaha, I'm going to go in, okay, real quick before I end. You go into menu, you go into, and those of you who have a Tyros, sorry, a Genos, it's a similar thing, similar setup. Menu, go to page 2, and then go into MIDI. All right, you have your MIDI setting over there. And if you notice, I have my transmission on, and I go and turn everything off apart from the left and upper. All I'm looking for is the left, which is going to be my chords, and I'm going to put that on port 1, channel 2. And the upper, which is my right hand, I'm going to put that on port 1, channel 1. Now, port 1 is here because on the Genos, you actually have 2 sets of MIDI ports, port 1 and port 2, in and out. So in this case, we only have 1. And make sure everything else is off. So go down to all the 5 pages and make sure everything else is off, right? That's all you want to do here. On the KETRON side, you want to go in and you want to go into menu and you go into MIDI, okay? You want to use the keyboard style and voice preset. These are all your MIDI presets over here. Now, when you come in there, you want to go to the Arranger keyboard tab, and I want to go to MIDI RX, which is receive over here. And you see the right is on channel 1 because the Yamaha is transmitting upper on channel 1. The KETRON is receiving the right on channel 1. The Yamaha is transmitting the left section on channel 2. The KETRON is receiving the left on channel 2. And for the most part, also what I did was, in my case, I also have the lead voices on channel 1, second voice on channel 1, and the harmonizer, vocalizer on channel 2. And then you want to hit save and save that particular MIDI setup, okay? That's it in a nutshell, but I'm going to go through more detail also with the synchronizing the clocks and everything. Again, thank you all so much for having spent your day with us, and we shall look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Thank you again.